Hey, yo, what up, y'all? Welcome to a brand new podcast here on the B Road Network, YouTube. The podcast called That Time in Hip Hop, and it's designed to basically talk about the history, go over a little nostalgia, and the preservation of hip hop music and culture. I am your host, Vegas of Hip Hop Now Podcast. My co-host, the man, what I'm saying, that's holding it down with me, Tone of IntoTheDome.com. What up, man?
What's good, play? How you?
Chilling, man. Literally, man. Like today I went outside and for lunch at work and it's 55 degrees. It was sunny, but yo, it's April, man. Like I should have a leather coat on, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so see, it's nice and warm down here, North Carolina.
Yeah. I see your videos where you listening to music. I'm like, this nigga got a t-shirt on. Like, I can't do that, you know?
Yeah, no doubt. It's good down here, baby.
Windows down, man. I'm about to move down there and all of that. And you see what's this is the other thing I saw. I see a lot of crazy stuff, especially working in Manhattan. But a dude, when I was walking to the train, I saw a dude, walking down the street rapping to something, mad loud, which told me, he wanted all of us to know that he rapping.
Yeah.
And he was rapping some fabulous, man.
Come on, man.
Yeah, dude.
Not at this moment, baby.
Not at this moment. And look, he was rapping a song from the first album, which tells me that dude literally went back and said, I'm gonna go listen to the first project. And I'm like,
not a good look.
Fortunately.
Yeah, not a good look, man.
Yeah, it's not, but what are you gonna do at this point in time, man? But if you tuning in for the first time, man, hit that subscribe button, that like button. We're gonna get into some hip hop history, whether that be albums, events, just different things that happen. Don't worry, it won't just be all old. It'll be some recent history. But we're gonna get into that, man, and we got a segment, that before we get into the nitty gritty, the main topic, the homie Tone got a piece right here where it just lets us know what happened this week in hip hop.
Oh man, so this week in hip hop, 1992, Guys Effect, they dropped their debut album, Dead Serious.
Damn.
And I'm gonna tell you something, man. It was a new style. Being from North Carolina, we thought it was kind of crazy, but it had some flavor to it. Looking back at it, that's more funny than anything else. But they came out storming. They had that mic checker straight from the sewer. It rocked the clubs. I mean, I ain't mad at it. It was a good time for them, for EPMD, for Death Squad, whatever. And also, the timing was perfect because the Chronic didn't drop till like December of that year. And so we know that once Dr. Dre and Snoop dropped the Chronic, it was West Coast for the next like almost 2 years. But Guys Effect had a strong moment because they dropped early in that spring. Actually, April the 7th, 1992, which is this week. You know what I mean? So, yeah, good times, man. What you think about the album, though, babe?
Man, I love Guys Effect when I first heard them, man. Like, because they were so different and refreshing. You know what I'm saying? And, they had a style that nobody had. And, you know what I'm saying? It was like you said, straight from the sewer, the video. We all loved it in the 90s. We loved grimy videos.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If it was grimy, you was in the sewer holding a sledgehammer for no damn reason, but you got one or a big ass chain. You know what I'm saying? We just got into it. But even like the album cover, like when the album cover came out, they got all these neon colors. And I know in New York, especially around 92, a lot of we used to wear what is like Helly Hansen or something like that. We used to wear all these different jackets that were these real bright colors. Like I had one that was like neon green, the whole fucking coat, which is crazy. Now I would never wear that. But it kind of, the album cover kind of matched a vibe that was going on the East Coast anyway, and they just had an original style, and they had the voices for it. You know what I'm saying? And them dudes was just nice. It was just too bad everybody bit off of them. That's the bad part. to the point they changed their style after that. But yeah, man, that was April 7th, 1992.
You know what? You really couldn't mimic their style. That's the reason why it ended up being a bad look for them. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't mimic. They were so original. You know what I'm saying? So when all other groups started doing that, trying to catch the wave, it sounded corny. So it almost make you look back and say Nas and Fix was corny to a degree, but they really weren't. You know what I'm saying? They were dope. You know what I'm saying? But they did have some lines that was kind of funny in retrospect. You know what I'm saying? But they also had some hard joints too. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not mad at them, but yeah, I think people, when they mimic them, they kind of hurt their momentum. And once they change their style, they start losing a lot of steam. And then they, of course, EPMD had a lot of issues at that time anyway.
Yeah.
Breaking up the hit squad, this squad.
Yeah, that played a role also because before they, and Redman to an extent, before they could really get that whole hit squad going like a movement, you know, EPMD breaks up and everybody splits. And like you said, Das Effect changed their style. There was one song that never made the album, but it was like an unreleased joint. That was a B-side. It was called Hard Like a Criminal.
Okay.
And they wasn't really like all Iggity on it. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have the Iggity all over it. And I was kind of like, damn, well, if they change their style, they're going to be all right. Because, you know, around the time Criss Cross was doing their style, and people were just saying, like, you know, like my sister was in the Criss Cross. Luckily, she knew hip hop, but a lot of fans of Criss Cross just thought, oh, well, that's their style. They came up with that, you know. But yeah, man, Dead Serious, Das Effects, 1992, classic for me.
Good time. It was a dope year anyway. But yeah, it was a good time, man. And you know, I give them respect. They did their thing. Yeah, man. So, anything else on Das Effect, man? Before we.
Nah, man. Let's get in. You got the shirt on. You know what I'm saying? I got the vinyl back. You know, let's get into. You know what I'm saying? So, the main force.
So let me tell you, I'm very excited, man, to discuss the Built For Cuban Linx. You know, that time in hip hop when I first heard this album. But first, let me say this: being our age, I'm 42. 92, 93, and 94, I was very spoiled because I had The Crime. Then I had 36 Chambers. Then I had Illmatic. Then I had Ready to Die. You know what I'm saying? So we had game-changing albums back to back. And for me personally, there's been thousands of hip-hop albums. But there's only been about 10 really that absolutely blew me away. And only Built For Cuban Linx is the album when I first heard it. And this is before a lot of the reviews came up and people talked about it being like a movie. I really felt like I was listening and watching a movie when I first put that CD in. And it was like, you know what I'm saying? Raekwon is the star. Ghostface Killah is the co-star. And then the RZA, because he was the producer, the only producer on that album, and he said he locked himself in the basement to put this piece together. He was like the director of the movie. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where I looked at Cuban Linx. Like, let me give another example. So, the movie The Shawshank Redemption. It's my favorite movie. And anytime I'm watching TV, I end up watching it again, and I watch the whole thing all over again. Anytime I'm in a car pulling CDs out, I always end up with Cuban Linx in, and I hear it and I listen to it like it's the first time I've heard it again. That's just my initial memory, you know what I'm saying, of 95 August when it dropped. You know what I'm saying?
And that was August when that dropped.
It was August when it dropped, and I was anticipating it because I heard that the Jizzle was going to drop that year. He ended up dropping in like November. And ODB dropped that spring. And then Takal for Meth dropped the year before that. And of course, the year before that, it was a 36 chamber. So Jizzle was on a run. But when Cuban Linx dropped, the sound of wu-tang, the sound of RZA, it wasn't that basement Takal sound, which I did love, but it wasn't as grungy. It was so clean and crystal clear.
Yeah,
and it sounded like it was engineered different as well. So it's just so futuristic, man. So yeah, it definitely it rocks.
Yeah, man. I like for me, you know, that was the summer. You know, I graduated high school. You know, I was already set to attend Morgan State University. in the fall. You know what I'm saying? And I just remember that album kind of dropping like right before I'm reporting to school for the first time.
Right.
And like honestly, like because to give people some context, also, it's at least as far as how I was thinking and how my peers around me were thinking at the time. But you kind of didn't know what to expect. You know what I'm saying? Because Ray and Ghost wasn't the Ray and Ghost we know now, as far as the tandem. You know what I'm saying? Like they had some joints by then, like Heaven and Hell was already out.
Right.
They had Ken, but they didn't. They don't had at that time. They didn't have the mystique they have now, which came from only Built For Cuban Linx. But I liked Raekwon on the Wu album. I wasn't the biggest fan of Ghost on the Wu album, so I was just kind of like, well, damn, why they sticking him with him like this? Are they already a group within Wu-Tang?
Yeah.
Then I found out they didn't like each other at one point and all types of crazy stuff. So I didn't know what to expect. But, because I was a big fan of the Wu and, everybody that was coming out, except for you, God, I was like, I'm going to buy, you know what I'm saying? Just because, it's the Wu. And I remember, like you said, man, when that joint come on and Ghost is talking his iconic stuff, you know what I'm saying, about, it's the last time, man. You know what I'm saying? Like just classic skit intro that, like any hip hop head is completely recognizable when you hear it. You know what I'm saying? And it just sets off the album right. Even like you said, like it's like a movie that's starting slowly. And I mean, man, once it took off, I just was like, man, I can't believe how dope this album is. Plus, we can't forget, we do this if we don't mention the purple tape. Right. You know what I'm saying? That kind of, even though, because a lot of people say this, like purple tape was the first colored tape. Redman had the first colored tape, as far as I know, with There's a Dark Side.
Yeah, it was red.
His tape was red.
Burgundy, yeah.
Red tape. But everybody kind of affectionately referred to only Built For Cuban Linx as a purple tape, if you had the tape back then. That's purple vinyl right there, by the way.
Right.
Which is crazy. I barely put it on because I just be like, I don't want to scratch it.
You know what I thought was interesting too? That Hell on Earth dropped. I mean, not Hell on Earth, but Heaven and Hell, excuse me. It came out the year before. So we sitting there like, why did it take so long for the album to come? Maybe they're trying to perfect it. But Heaven and Hell came out in 1994, man, and we had to wait like 8, 9, 10 months before Cuban Linx dropped. Criminology ended up dropping, but we could wait for the album. You know what I'm saying?
Time. Yeah, and Heaven and Hell was it dropped at that time because it was a song on the soundtrack to the movie Fresh.
Yep.
Which movie I've never seen before.
Word?
But yeah, I've never seen that movie before.
You gotta do the knowledge.
Playing chess or something like that?
Yeah, it's dope.
It is?
It's very dope.
Check it out.
It's raw.
Word?
You remember the intro on a side note to Big Pun's Capital Punishment?
Yeah.
And bang, 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 all that. The little like the Puerto Rican.
That's from Fresh?
That's from Fresh.
Oh wow.
It's dope.
Okay.
It's dope. You gotta check that out. I did want to say something real quick about the intro to Cuban Linx that's striving for perfection. When you're saying what Ghost was talking, iconic, him and Ray was kind of like, they was in deep conversation about their lives. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, man, we got to do this for our babies, man. We got to get out this life, man. It's like you contemplating about going to a more mature stage in your life. You're striving for that. But at the same time, they're like, yo, we got to do this one more time, though, yo. We got to get in these streets one more time, man. This going to be it, though. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it was just kind of funny because they striving for perfection. They're talking about some knowledge, but it's funny because the next track is called Knuckleheads.
Yeah.
And they're going right back to the streets again, you know what I'm saying? And then after that, it's knowledge gone. Like, oh man, you know what? I'm screwing up, man. Let me get my mind together. So Cuban Linx was actually a gangster mafia conscious record because they went back and forth during the story, not doing right, but I got to get this paper. I got to get the streets, but I also feed my family. You know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of ironic the way they did it. And going back to the Shawshank Redemption, Ray and Ghost was like, Andrew Dufresne and Ray. You know what I'm saying? Like they became these tight friends during the story, and they try to help each other find their way. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like they tried to find their way throughout Cuban Linx all the way to North Star. You know what I'm saying? So I just thought that was very interesting. And it was the first time I had seen like a co-star for an album when they weren't technically a duo. Because Ghost was on 11 or 12 tracks on the album. And then he had a solo song, Wisdom, on the album.
Yeah.
And I think that was, yeah.
That kind of, well, no, go ahead. Finish your thought.
No doubt. It was just that, you know, he got a chance to get loose on Wisdom. I liked his style. It was raw. And also, Ghost brought that hyper element, that street element, while Raekwon was more laid back on some conscious God, you know, whatever. He kind of reminded me more of a Rakim type almost. And Ghost was almost, you know, and I don't want to say Busta Rhymes, but he had the energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, he brought that different element, man. So I just thought the blend was like the Road Warriors, the Rock and Roll Express. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. He brought Ghost brought character to that album.
He did.
You know what I'm saying? Because when you think about like lines like, you know, be like blue and cream, and like that's all Ghost. Even a lot of what striving for, well, the intro, striving for perfection, you know, a lot of that is kind of like both of their personalities, but you know, Ghost's personality is so big that it didn't really overshadow Raekwon, but it complemented his personality, like you said, and his rhyming style really well. And honestly, when I first saw that it was Raekwon featuring Ghost, and I told you, like, on the first Wu album, I didn't hate everything that was Ghost, but I wasn't a huge fan, not the fan I am today.
Right.
I felt like it was a smart move because they just would have been regular by themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like at that time, because at that time there was a bunch of dudes that were kind of like that, talking the same stuff. But here you had dudes who were basically sharing a debut album, so to speak. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was a kind of a dope marketing tool to be like, you know, here's Raekwon, and kind of introduce you to Ghostface. So when Iron Man eventually came out and they kind of somewhat did the same thing, it kind of prepared you for it a little bit more. But yeah, man, like even stuff like the cover, you know what I'm saying? You got the shirt, you know what I'm saying? When people look at that cover, you know, it's regular, you know, he blowing out some smoke, his homie behind him, you know, with the two fingers pointing at the joint.
Right.
But when you listen to it, it's kind of like this cover just perfect, you know what I'm saying? It just represent the style they brought to it, the vernacular, you know, that wu-tang slang, where sometimes you know what they talk about, sometimes you're like, yeah, I don't know what that means.
Hey, let me say something on that. Let me speak on that.
Yeah.
So I'm still gonna relate that again back to me watching Shawshank Redemption. Every time I watch it, even though I've seen it 20 times, I see something new within the movie, in the dialogue. So each time I listen to Cuban Linx, I still hear little darts here and there, and I'm like, damn, okay, that's what they talking about. I missed that last time. You know what I'm saying? So even this many years later, it's like I'm still getting new information listening to the album, just like watching that movie. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the dopest part of the album when it's a complex album. You know what I'm saying? Because again, you got this mafioso element. We know Kool G Rap probably originated with Schoolie D and Kool G Rap, but Kool G Rap was still more underground. Wu-Tang was not underground by the time Cuban Linx dropped. So they made the mafia type gangster more popular. So you'll have this Reasonable Doubt after this. Nas, It Was Written after this. AZ, Do or Die after this, etc., etc. A lot of that really comes from, you know, Only Built For Cuban Linx, which also they're the children of Kool G Rap. You know what I'm saying? So once again, when I say complex, you got Criminology, right? But then as a single, but then you got Rainy Days as a single. Rainy Days is kind of like a conscious song, though. Yeah,
it is.
It's a conscious song, and then you got the Rainy Days remix, which I love. That joint absolutely is fire. I like it better than the original joint. You know, you got
remixes of all time, man.
Oh my God, they went crazy. Yeah.
I remember like that joint getting played in clubs. You know what I'm saying? It was just that dope, and it was extremely difficult to find because it wasn't on the album.
Very hard to find.
It wasn't really released like that. It probably was on some old school shit like white label that only DJs know. You know. One thing though, that was kind of something new at the time that a lot of people bit off of, and that was kind of having the alter ego, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? With them kind of giving everybody in the Wu, including giving Nas, another name. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you looking at this Cuban Linx album cover, I mean, you know, the credits or whatever, not the credits, but the track listing, and you seeing like Noodles and Iron Lung and Nas Escobar and, you know, Iron Man, and you looking like, wait, hold up. Who are these? Like, who the fuck is this? You know what I'm saying? But, you know, then you got, you know, God rest the dead, I hate to say it, but then you heard stuff like Frank White, and, you know, everybody else started to have like a different name or whatever.
It's funny you said that because they really did usher in aliases in hip hop. Because think about it, like you said, Nas Escobar, AZ Sosa, and then we could even fast forward to Capone Noriega, Iraq, you know, all this kind of stuff they were speaking, and then also it was a lot of people. Fatal Hussein, you know what I'm saying? Machiavelli, you know what I'm saying? You know, some of the outlaws' names. You can say that influence kind of came from Wu-Tang having all these nicknames.
Yeah, exactly. It started something because you would think, I could see record execs being like, look, we don't want to confuse names. Raekwon is the name we selling. You can't start calling yourself Lex Diamonds and shit, and people don't go buy it because they think it's some new cat. Well, you know, speaking of which, as far as that influence, you know, Wu-Tang off the Wu-Tang album and everything else, you know, what they were kind of masters of was the skits. Sharkbiters is probably one of the greatest skits of all time because of what it was touching on in regards to the whole Bad Boy, really Raekwon and Biggie beef more than anything.
You know what's funny? I think that Shark niggas skit on Cuban Linx, it also gave Biggie direction for Life After Death. And what I mean by that is, you know, he's, you know, Ray and Ghost like, yo, they been off Nas joint, the album cover, et cetera, you know, and Big took offense to that, but Big never called nobody out. He threw subliminals all the time. You know what I'm saying? There's also YouTube videos showing Biggie in the car listening to Cuban Linx. So his ear was in the street. You know what I'm saying? But that whole Shark niggas end up ushering in, kicking the door. You know what I'm saying? When Biggie on Life After Death go at Nas, he go at J. Rue the Demos, he go at Boot Camp Click, but they videos trying to clown him. He go at Ray and Ghost. You know what I'm saying? And then Long Kiss Goodnight, man, we know that's kind of, it could be about some pop, but he also was still dissing MCs throughout Life After Death. Yeah. And that really came from Ray and Ghost. And, you know, I've seen videos that Method Man was kind of like, yo, Big was cool with me. You know, I was the only MC on Ready to Die. I don't know why Ray and Ghost kind of felt the way they felt. I never had a problem with dude. You know what I'm saying? And he on record saying that. And Ray and Ghost never really, I always say, you know, hip hop competition, we're having fun, it was competition. They looked at it like that. But it was dissing though. You know what I'm saying? Like your popular champagne, yada yada yada. They were dissing.
And we can't forget, when I first heard the Mad Rapper, I was like, they are mocking Ghostface. Because the whole way of talking sound like Ghost. You know what I'm saying? Now, obviously, it kind of took on a whole character of its own eventually, where it kind of strayed away from just being Ghost. But initially, the Mad Rapper was, you know, because Ghost was saying, you know, we're going to pop a little champagne every time we see him. Like, you know, like he was kind of hating. He was kind of hating on the low. You know what I'm saying?
He's kind of hating.
Yeah. But, you know, at the end of the day, now speaks to the influence of that classic album, which you should have if you're a hip hop fan.
Yeah.
But when I first got my radio show, Strictly Hip Hop, shout out to them, 88.9 FM, every Friday, midnight to 5 a.m., weaa.org. See, there you go. But when I first got the show and like it was mine, like Kill, shout out to Kill. Kill gave it up. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, damn, the show is mine now. It's going to have my imprint. Everything I knew in hip hop, the shows like Mr. Magic and all of that. I used to listen to Future Flavors, all of that back in the days. Like, I gotta create an intro. So me and my man Woods, I was like, yo, the local competition here, they got a rap show. I'm trying to be better than them. So I was like, yo, let's just recreate Shark Biters, but I'm talking about some radio stuff instead of what Ghost was talking about. Yeah. And I mean, we really recreated it to a T where, I'm Ghost, my man in his Ray. We didn't listen to the album so much. It didn't matter that we were replacing words and names. We had the cadence down and all of that. But it was just because that was such a bold move and really unexpected, at the time, for them to just come out and just basically go at him. Because I'm not even going to lie. Before Ghost said it on Only Built For Cuban Linx, when I bought Ready to Die and I saw that album cover, I was like, you really gonna, because nobody had no kind of baby pictures, whether it was them or anybody else. And I was like, wow, this is kind of like Nas' album a little bit. I wonder how people feel about that. And then Ghost just airs it out like, they bit off a Nas shit. And I'm like, oh.
What's funny too? What's also funny when they say they bit off Nas, George, you put Nas in the middle of the battle as well. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So then you got Nas and Biggie start throwing these subliminals. You're like, oh, you down with Wu-Tang, dog? Okay, cool. So when I write this track, I'm going at all y'all. You know what I'm saying? And it was like the King of New York type thing. At one point after it was written, you got Nas and Biggie kind of clashing as the King of New York, because Jay still semi-underground with Reasonable Doubt. So you had the clashing of the big dogs. You know what I'm saying? And so
that was the battle that was supposed to happen.
That was the battle that's supposed to happen. And speaking of Nas, Cuban Linx is the first album where like Nas Wu-Tang member really rhymed on. You know what I'm saying? So you got the verbal intercourse, yeah, no doubt. So you got the verbal intercourse, which ended up being by hip hop purists one of the top 5-10 verses in the culture.
I think did it get hip hop quotable?
Yeah, it got hip hop quotable, and it also has always been ranked on so many different outlets and websites as one of the best verses of all time. And he was Nas Escobar.
Yeah.
And he took that and parlayed that right in. Well, he put Nas Escobar on Infamous. He was Nas Escobar on Cuban Linx, and went right into being Nas Escobar on It Was Written in the Firm.
Yeah, man.
But that's the influence from, to me, Ray and Ghost. And speaking of influence also, with that 1-2 punch tandem, I think that's when you start seeing years later, Jadakiss and Styles with the Locks started kind of stepping away from Chic and Bad Boy, and they started doing their 1-2 thing. I think that Ray and Ghost kind of influence is right there too.
Yeah, man, it was just a perfect pairing, man, with that album and those styles and how they kind of, and you could tell like personality wise, they kind of care about some of the same things.
Yep.
Kind of think alike. And it just made for a really dope project, man. They like, even to this day, anytime they hop on a track together, it's like going back to 1995, man, and hearing them again. But I think we'd be remiss if we don't talk about our favorite tracks off of that. So what are some of your favorite tracks on there?
Wu Gambino's comes to mind because it actually is one of my favorite Wu-Tang posse cuts. You feel me?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna go with Wu Gambino's. Man, I like Rainy Days, man, but I like the Rainy Days remix even better. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Man, I'm gonna tell you, I like Knowledge God. You know what I'm saying? I like Knowledge God. And one more time, I have to say the intro, and I'll talk about the intro when we conclude, that No Star does something for me. I like the vibe of it, you know what I'm saying? So, and I'll just say right now, when I think about ending an album, it's like, so I said this on a podcast with Kill months ago, how you start an album, the middle parts of the skits and how you end the album is very important to me. Because some great albums end with a whack track.
Yeah.
Or it is abrupt. North Star is like, man, I got through this last thing. I survived this joint. Old dude on the block, basically like, man, you look good. Oh, you got through it. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, now let's do something else with our life, dog. You know what I'm saying? We got through this adventure because all the Built For Cuban Linx is an adventure. And North Star is that adventure summarized, yo, this is my life now, man. I'm moving forward. That's why on Cuban Linx 2, it kind of led into where he was at, even though he was still in conflict. He was still trying to do better. You know what I'm saying? So those are the tracks that come to mind.
For me, it's again, you know, I was fresh into college. I'm gonna just tell you right now. You think, you know, some people would be like, hey, so you partied every weekend? Like, no, we partied every week. We was in clubs on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, going to class like zombies. And Ice Cream, the video, the vibe, and the clubs. Because like, you know, this is a different time, y'all. You know, for cats who are younger, like they play that in a club, like chicks were in. Well, let me not say chicks, girls, women. Thanks, Fad. Were into hip hop just as much as we were, and it wasn't just like, you know, tomboy women and girls. It was, you know, just women who loved hip hop, who loved bars and everything. Yeah. So they kind of adopted that whole, you know, oh, I'm Puerto Rican, so I'm a, you know, butter pecan Rican, and you know what I'm saying, I'm chocolate and all of that. They kind of adopted that. Yeah. So when it comes to the clubs, not only is the beat knocking, Ghost verse is crazy. Yeah. It just created a mood in the club, and it made it easier for some fellas to be like, yo, I'm trying to dance with shorty. If you need a little motivation and you love the record, she loved the record, you just come over there and you start kicking that Ghost verse to her, and you know, who knows, you know. Another one of my favorites, Incarcerated Scarfaces. Woo! Yo, man, that beat, like I'm telling you, man, I'm the type of dude where I like a variety of music, and you know, I like a lot of new music as well. Not everything, but I like a lot of new music. So I'm not one of those cats who's stuck in my time. But when records like that come on, I'm in my old head bag. Yeah. I'm transported back to 1995. The hand movements, the head nod, you know, it all comes back. You know, the video was just Project cooking up, grimy old 90s video. You know what I'm saying? One of my favorite joints. Oh, hold up, I hit play by mistake. And another one of my favorites is Heaven and Hell, man. I bought that joint on single. Yep. Like you said, when it dropped, I just kept thinking to myself, when is this album coming out? Oh my goodness, yeah. This song is sick. This beat is nuts. The fact that, you know, Ray and Ghost are kind of going back and forth. You know, they got the swagger with the way they saying it. Yep. Just a dope album for perfect for its time. You know what I'm saying? For that time in '95. Because like you said, you had all the stuff that dropped, and it was unique, and it was just like dudes were just hitting home runs. Let me say this too. Mm-hmm. Cuban Linx, and this honestly got truth. I rode to it the other day. I don't skip a track on there, and that's saying a lot. And that's saying a lot because some of the greatest albums have skippable stuff on it. Like for example, when I got Ready to Die In, I skipped that Friend of Mine. I don't want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? I redid. I made my own, burned my own CD and put Who Chapter right there and took that crap out. You know yeah, it's terrible. I don't know what Puff was thinking about. He might have been drunk when he put that one on there. So I know Big in the put. I was a throwaway track, man. You know what I'm saying? But Cuban Linx doesn't have a throwaway track to me. RZA was razor sharp all the way through. Ghost and Ray was dope. Every guest appearance was dope on them. I would have loved to hear a verse by ODB, even though I think he did some background vocals on North Star. He didn't rhyme on Cuban Linx, but everybody else rhymed on Cuban Linx. You know what I'm saying? Except ODB, man. But there was no skippable track on there, man. Yeah, it really wasn't. And another, probably, it's hard to say it's my favorite beat, but that beat on Guillotine
Yeah, it's crazy.
track, it's crazy. And Inspector Deck was in his bag on that one. Like,
Yeah,
that's when he was at the top of his game. Was kind of like people recognized his skill, but he still was kind of criminally slept on because of the antics of everybody else. Like, Meth, and like everybody else was such big characters, and he was
yeah,
just nice.
that's true.
You know what I'm saying? He was just nice with it.
So that's your favorite beat?
Overshadowed, huh?
So that's your favorite beat?
It might be only because I was rhyming heavy back then, and even though I can rhyme to any of these beats, that was probably the one beat that just always made me want to rhyme. And I just love the fact that it has that kung fu flick vibe to it, but it's still a dope track at the same time. So
I'm gonna go with Wu Gambino is my favorite beat on the album. I mean, it's sick. I still listen to instrumental on YouTube, man. But RZA actually got nice on that track. I'm not always the biggest RZA fan rhyming. He's funny, not really trying to rhyme so much, but he really got off on that Wu Gambino's.
Yeah, definitely, man. Well, all right. So on this album, it's 18 tracks. If people didn't know, and my man Tone said, now remember, this 18 tracks. Some of them are skits, but it's 18 of these joints, and you really don't skip anything. And after Papa Wu is done giving his sermon, you kind of want to go back and hear Ghost again in that intro and just start the flow again. And I think that's another testament to early 90s that people kind of forget. They just try to say everybody's nice and stuff is whack now and stuff like that. But it was a little bit deeper than that. The arrangement of tracks, like you said, a beginning, a middle, and the end, the arrangement of tracks and skits is very important. People are paying attention to that ride, and we kind of expected that back then in 1995. We expected not songs, but albums to do that, to be a journey, to have an intro, to have skits, and to end off in a way where we could feel like, that was a good time. You know what I'm saying? That from beginning to end.
Yeah, you want to be taken on a journey. When I used to go to the record store, I used to walk to the record store. Early 90s, UNCG, the record store was called School Kids. And so I would walk to School Kids. I would have my headset. When I buy that joint, I want to walk and get into that experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want that album to take me somewhere. This joint took me to I feel like I was sitting in a theater when I was listening to Cuban Linx. Same way when I listened to Illmatic, I had never been to Queens at that time, but I actually felt like that song Memory Lane. I'm sitting in the park, Queensbridge, like Nas is really showing me how Queensbridge look. You know, just same way Dr. Dre at the time had never been to California in the early 90s. When I heard the Chronic, it's like, I feel like I'm out there throwing joints, doing a ride. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm in Compton. You know what I'm saying? Or Scarface joint, I feel like I'm in Houston. So that's what Wu-Tang did with Cuban Linx, man. It took me to that theater, so I'm watching Ghost and Ray go through their journey. You know what I'm saying? Like that Shawshank Redemption I was saying earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, and all right, so I guess we could look at what's the as far as your final thought on the album. What's the lasting impression you get when you think of this album? Whether you hear somebody talk about it, you see the cover, like what impression did it leave with you that makes it easy for you to call it a classic and want to listen to it straight through, even in 2018?
To me, it took me back to a moment, and maybe this is nostalgia, I don't know. It took me to a time where a team put together something special, and they didn't take it for granted. Every track was it's like cooking with love. You feel me? Like, there was no rushing. Maybe that's the reason why Heaven and Hell came out a year before. I think they took their time. They put together a flawless project. I think the rhymes was dope. The beats was dope. The engineering, like I said earlier, it sounded like the way the Bomb Squad did with the Texas Nation of Me or Dr. Dre did with the Chronic. even Quick and all of them with All Eyes on Me is very loud. It's very crystal clear. The production is futuristic, meaning when I put Cuban Linx in now, the production sounds better than the production I've heard over the last 12 years. Yeah. It's that crispy. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I have Cuban Linx as number 5 on my all-time list of greatest albums ever in hip-hop. It's ranked number 5. Wow. So that's the way I look at it, and I have extensive years in the culture, and I hold it in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, shit, you got the T-shirt on, so I'm jealous than a motherfucker. I want one of them joints.
Yeah, it came in the mail today, right on time.
Yeah. Well,
yes, sir.
For me, the lasting impression is identical to what you were saying. You know what I'm saying? I feel the same way about the album. It's one of those albums when I first bought it. And again, when Papa Wu finished and it went off, I instantly was like, I have to hear that again, because it was almost unbelievable how much I enjoyed it. And, I happened to be cleaning up at the time, you know what I'm saying? And, just listening, something is good when you're playing it and you look back at the radio like, yo, what track is this? Like, God, it's just still good, you know what I'm saying? And you feel like it's going on too long, but you don't want it to end at the same time. I think, when I listen to it, I'm instantly transported back to that time, back to 1995. Again, time of my life where I was about to, leave the hood of Bedford-Stuyvesant and venture off into this HBCU and try to, make my dreams come true. So hearing something like Striving for Perfection, even though my hustle was totally different, I can identify with it because it was just kind of like, yo, this is, we want to make it, or, you know what I'm saying, or we not, and this album kind of spoke to me on that level and on a number of levels as an MC, as a hip-hop fan. So, when you hear people talking about Purple Tape and songs like, you know what I'm saying, Rainy Days and the remix and Rain Ghosts, this conversation that we have right now is the main reason why, man, is people crafted their music to a point where it made the impression that they wanted. They wanted it to be hot.
No.
But, when you are able to connect with your listeners and your fans in a way where it becomes like a soundtrack to Tone walking to the store, you know what I'm saying, or me, mentally getting ready to go to college, man, you did your job.
That's right.
And it don't matter if it's hip-hop or any other thing, you did your job when you connect with fans on that level. Yep. All right, so we're going to get into a segment that we're going to do at the end of every podcast where we recommend you go back and listen to something. And I was, dumbing through what I had, and there's things I could say go back to that, you would see coming. But then I went back and I was like, you know what? 50 Cent's third album, Curtis, was not that bad. And
it really wasn't.
Yeah, it really wasn't. And just to confirm, I had to I'm not the type to just pick an album out the hat and just be like, I'm gonna choose this one. I actually listened to it going to work the other day, and maybe out of this joint had like 20, and these are bonuses. Probably I added some shit, so maybe it's more like 19. It's maybe 4 records I don't like, and that's not a lot when you got damn near 20. You know what I'm saying? But the thing about this album is with the Massacre, which was 50 Cent's second album, which still sold well, but was a huge disappointment for everybody who liked Get Rich or Die Trying.
It needed to be chopped in half.
Exactly.
And it would have been fine.
It would have been fine. But it also contained a song that people felt like was a comeback for 50, because everybody felt like 50 was fading after the Massacre. Like, he's really only able to do this. Shit is trash. But then when he came out with that I Get Money, it was like, yo, I think 50's back. And the Curtis album has some joints on here, man. Like Man Down, obviously, I Get Money is dope. Moving on up, Straight to the Bank, Amusement Park.
Yeah.
What's the other one? Like Curtis 187.
That's hard. Yeah. That's hard.
You know what I'm saying? It had production.
Yep.
Havoc did a whole bunch of
Yep.
joints. You know what I'm saying? Jake One did the Moving On Up track. That was crazy. A lot of stuff, a lot of features also. But at the same time, it kind of felt like 50 kind of returned to that mixtape form, especially as far as the production, and somewhat of that Get Rich or Die Trying form. And it's an album that I think a lot of people kind of slept on because they were kind of done with 50 around that time.
Yeah.
So, if you have it, or now, we live in the future, you could just stream it. If you have a streaming service, go check it out, man. Curtis, 50 Cent's third album, released in 2007. And a little tidbit, if you don't remember the title, we know his first name is Curtis, but it was kind of inspired by the Cameron disc, Curtis, because he was kind of bragging on his name, which is probably one of the funniest diss records of all time.
It's hilarious.
Exactly. But 50 was like, that's my name, Curtis. But this album is actually dope, so you should go check it out. What you got, Tone?
Now, I'm going to tell you, so being from North Carolina, it gives me great pride to say Fonte from Little Brother and Foreign Exchange fame, debut album, Charity Starts at Home. The joint dropped in 2011. But I'm going to tell you, people have been waiting, anticipating that joint since 2003 because Little Brother dropped listening in 2003. Yeah. So for people who don't know, 2003 was a good year for hip-hop, and they dropped that. They followed up with the Minstrel Show, and then they had to Get Back, and then they had a lot of mixtapes and joints like that. But, Fonte was always dope on mixtapes and on the albums. So people was really anticipating that joint. Now, with Foreign Exchange, he rap and he sing. A lot of people didn't know Fonte sing as well. So on Charity Starts at Home, he gave you a great blend of, he rhymed. Now, the first track on the album is Dancing in the Rain. He killed it. Yeah. He had this joint, Everything Is Falling Down by Crisis did the beat. Amazing track. Just a dope track, man. And then the last song, man, it brings it home with Who Loves You More. You know what I'm saying? That track is just, Fonte does grown man rap. So if you're 25 and up or even 30 and up or whatever, he's going to talk about some real life situations. He talk about his life in his album, his family, his brother getting locked up, his parents, talking about his dad, So it's more than just, hey, I'm flossing. You know what I'm saying? Because he wasn't flossing because that's not the life he was living. So he really did not fabricate nothing. If you know Fonte, if you know about his story, it's a very dope album, dope production. Fonte can rhyme with the best of them. A lot of people don't know that, Kanye, when he used to come down earlier back in the day, he was influenced by Fonte. Drake had said that before. He studied Little Brother. You know what I'm saying? If you listen to Drake singing and stuff after his first few mixtapes, that's an influence from Fonte. You know what I'm saying? So the influence is there with Fonte. A lot of people, even with Big Sean, J Electronic, a lot of guys used to listen to Little Brother. You know what I'm saying? So this album was a very strong debut album, man. So yeah, you guys check that out, man. Fonte, Charity Starts at Home, man. You will not be disappointed.
Yeah, and that's going to do it for us here on That Time in Hip Hop. If you like this video, hit the like button. You know what I'm saying? Share it with people you know and subscribe because this is the weekly podcast that you'll be able to check out, when you have time via video. Also, it'll be available via audio, and that all of those links and all that good stuff will be in the description. You know what I'm saying? If you have a question or even a comment about some of the things we talked about, maybe, you didn't like Cuban Linx, let us know. Maybe you love it. Maybe that's the only album you ever listened to in hip-hop. Leave your comments and questions in the comment section. If you want more information, you can go to enterthedome.com. That's ENTERDADOME.com. You can check out this video and read some articles. This is okay to read sometimes. It's fine. You know what I'm saying? It's whatever. You know what I'm saying? But on behalf of myself, Vegas, the homie Tone, you know what I'm saying? Go out, support hip-hop music, support the culture, keep it alive, and we check you out next week. All right?
Peace.
Drop it on the random.